Good morning. Got it functioning? Okay. Great. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Are we live? So, coming up to 9:30 in just a moment. So we'll go ahead and get started momentarily. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Oh, looks like Peach is going to be joining us today. Okay. Hello. Welcome, Friday morning yoga. So we're going to be doing a 75-minute Hatha class. And as always, we'll want to start just with the opportunity to ground ourselves and connect inwardly with the breath and beginning to cultivate that inner awareness and inner focus. So finding a comfortable seat and really feel grounded and rooted through your seat. Feel a sense of weight, the sits bones pressing down. And also begin to feel that beautiful polarity of the upward lift through the spinal column. And imagine you had a string that was coming right out of the crown of the head, gently lifting it up toward the ceiling, without any sort of artificial force upward. You're still allowing the resting of the shoulders to fall away from the ears. And then letting the hands land either in the lap or on the thighs. You may observe the natural tendency for your palms to face upward. If you're feeling you need to release some energy. If you're feeling more today that you need to contain your energy, perhaps turning the palms to face down on the legs. If you haven't done so, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and bring the awareness inward. Beginning to pay attention to the breath. Observe on the inhale, a slight lift upward through the chest, expansion of the belly, and on the exhale, a reversal of this trend. Whenever possible, breathing through the nose. Unless today, if you're feeling any constriction, then of course feel free to breathe. And if today you're able to breathe through the nose, observe the breath as it comes up the nasal passage. And as it passes then through into the throat, feel it pass by the throat down, further into the lungs, and right into the depths of the belly. And then observing this in reverse on the exhale. Particularly noticing how the breath is passing through the back of the throat before coming up through the nasal passage to exit through the nostrils. Just checking in to see how the body's feeling, sensation in the body. If there's any strong awareness, envision sending the breath to that space. And recognize always you have the freedom to shift and adjust. If you've gone beyond an edge, perhaps you need to change of your legs or bring them out in front of you. Recognizing you are always in control of your practice and modify as you are called to. The single reference in the Yoga Sutras to an asana, Sthira Sukham Asanam, is in reference to having a comfortable seat for the purpose, the rest of the eightland path, to bring us toward samadhi. It is through having a comfortable seat that we don't allow discomfort, distractions of sensation in the body to take our mind away, but yet remain focused. And so while there are other historical texts that provide us numerous yoga poses, Pradipaka, for example, the sutras talk about a comfortable seat, a steady seat, a sweet seat. Sthira Sukham Asanam. Go ahead and bring our palms, pressing gently together. Let's bring the thumbs toward heart center at Anjali Mudra. Gently press the palms together. Feel an activation even through the back body. Today, let's open our practice with a single Om. I'm going to suggest cleansing breaths or falling out breaths to clear the lungs. And I invite you to follow along at this pace with me. Let's go ahead and inhale together. And then forceful exhale, really sighing deeply as you exhale all the air. A second inhale here. Exhale. Following the third inhale, we're going to exhale to Om. Inhale. Om. And just pause here, feel the reverberation of the sound that is created in the hollow of the nasal cavity and other hollow portions of the skull. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And good morning. Thank you for joining. So to start with today, we're going to keep our hands pressing together in prayer and then begin to interlace the fingers, sort of in this manner. And we're going to bring the knuckles just underneath the chin. And then raising the elbows up so that their forearms are parallel to the floor, and pressing into the bottom of the chin. We're going to start to lift the head a little higher, extending the neck. Don't let the neck collapse backward here. Opening up the throat, gazing toward the ceiling. And on an exhale, as you bring the chin back down, bring the elbows toward one another and feel elongation in the back of the neck. On an inhale again, lifting the head, take the elbows up, gaze toward the ceiling, feel the opening in the front of the throat. As you exhale, bringing the elbows toward one another, bringing the chin down toward the direction of the chest as it rests on the knuckles. And again, inhale, lift the elbows, take the gaze toward the ceiling and really feel the openness in the throat here. And on the exhale, bringing the elbows down toward one another as you bring the chin down toward the chest, resting on the knuckles. Twice more. Inhale, the elbows up as you take the gaze up toward the ceiling, pressing the knuckles into the chin. Exhale, bring the elbows down as you start to bring the chin down as well. Last time now. Inhale, take the elbows up, gaze toward the ceiling, press the knuckles into the chin, soft and gentle with the back of the neck. Exhale, bringing the chin down as you bring the elbows together. Release the knuckles from underneath the chin, bring the chin back to parallel. And breathe the arms out to the side, reach and extend the fingertips. Rotate the palms to face up. And inhale the arms up overhead. Reach and extend, but feel the shoulder blades coming down the back body and coming toward one another. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and lower the hands toward the ground. We're going to drop our right ear toward our right shoulder. Feel the nice, beautiful stretch in the left-hand side of your neck. So you can stay here for another couple of breaths, or there is an option to bend the right arm at the elbow and rest the right palm just above the left ear, or perhaps the fingertips on the left ear. Now you're not holding the head with the hand, you're rather pressing the head into the palm, activating a little additional micro muscles in the side of the neck. We'll go ahead and release the hand, bringing the head back to center, and now we'll take the left ear toward the left shoulder. To begin with, both palms down toward the ground. Breathe into sensation in the neck. And again, option to just stay here for several breaths, or raise the left arm up off the mat, bend at the elbow, and bring the left fingertips onto or just above the right ear. Once again, we're pressing the head into the palm rather than using the palm to pull the head. We want to be very cautious with our neck here, very gentle. So it's pressing rather than pulling. If your hand is on the ear or near it, go ahead and release that, straighten the arm and bring the head back to center. So the fingertips are down at the ground here. I want now to rotate at the upper arm bone so the palms face upward. And on an inhale, we're going to bring the arms out and up and over here. Reach and extend as the fingertips come toward one another. Now rotating at the shoulders again, palms facing outward. On the exhale, lowering the hands down toward the mat. Fingertips coming down toward the ground again. Rotate at the shoulders, palms face up. Inhale the arms up overhead. Rotating and palms face out as you exhale and lower the hands down to the ground. 2 more times now, palms facing up. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale, rotate the palms, taking the arms down toward the mat. Inhale the arms, palms facing up. Exhale, rotate the palms to face out, bringing them back down toward the ground. This time we're going to raise the arms overhead and pause there. So bringing the arms up overhead, reach and extend. Keep pressing down through the sits bones, crown of the head reaching up toward the ceiling, elongating the spine. We're going to turn our torso over our right thigh as we bring the left palm down to the right thigh. Let the right hand fall down to the mat behind you. You're either resting on tented fingers or perhaps the palm comes fully flush with the mat behind you. Whether you're resting on the fingers or the palm, press through that back hand to give additional lift through the spinal column. Feel the entire torso twisting toward the right hand side and a soft, gentle gaze over the right shoulder. Unless you're feeling any tightness and tension in the neck, and just keep the head direct forward, chin over the sternum. Breathing deeply into this twist. Following it, exhale, we'll bring the arms up overhead as we bring the torso back to center. On the next exhale, coming toward the left-hand side as you let the right hand come down to the left side, the left hand comes close, and the sits bones pressing down. Following the next exhale, let's inhale the arms up overhead to center. A second time, coming to the right hand side as you lower the arms down, left hand to the right side, right hand close into the spine behind you. If Ujjayi breath is part of your practice, feel free to go ahead and begin to incorporate that. The lips gently touching together. The tongue might be resting up toward the roof of the mouth. And there's that slight contraction in the back of the throat as you breathe in and out through the nose, but almost envision you're trying to exhale through the mouth like you were trying to fog a mirror with the breath. And following the next exhale, let's bring the arms up overhead. Second time to the second side. Left hand side, bring the right palm to the left thigh. Left hand close into the spine behind. And open the shoulder to the wall behind you as you root down through on the back. Really allowing a greater sense of twist in the spinal column here. One more deep, nourishing breath. And on the inhale, bringing the arms up, overhead to center. We're going to come toward a C curve here. As you bring your right palm down alongside, you reach and extend the left fingertips toward the wall on your right. Make sure your left sit bone is rooted down here. If you notice it lift, just anchor it, even if it brings you higher up. Don't collapse into this right palm. Just allow it to brace you. Reach and extend the left fingertips here. Breathing deeply. Here to turn the gaze up toward the ceiling, looking under the left armpit. Following the next exhale, we're going to inhale, bringing the head back to center. Raise the left arm up. Bring it down alongside you as you raise the right arm up and coming over towards C curve now. Again, don't collapse into the left hand and keep the right sit bone rooted down. Reach and extend the right fingertips. Feel a broadness and opening through the right side body. The intercostal muscles amongst the rib cage here really spreading broadly here as you and we got connection again. Sorry, I got an error message here. Just double checking, make sure we're still live. The hazards of technology. So, beautiful. Let's inhale the torso back upright. We're going to bring both arms up overhead here. And now bringing the hands down to cactus arms, elbows coming slightly back toward the back body. Someone's coming around telling us we need to do cat pose, I think. So as you bring the elbows toward the wall behind you, lift the sternum higher, perhaps a gentle gaze toward the ceiling. Don't let the head collapse backwards. On an exhale, we're going to hollow out the belly, bring the elbows together in front of us, tucking the chin to the chest. On an inhale, taking the elbows apart, lead with the sternum, gaze toward the ceiling. You might notice the pelvis rocking here. Exhale, rock back on the pelvis, elbows together, hollow out the belly, tuck the chin. Inhale, rock forward on the pelvis, elbows apart, lead forward with the sternum. 2 more times as you exhale, hollow the belly, elbows together. Inhale, sternum comes forward, elbows out. 1 more time now. Elbows together, tuck the chin. Exhale, forward on the pelvis, elbows out to the side. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and lower the hands down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and come onto tabletop position, hands and knees. You can remove any block or bolster you may have had. Find your comfortable positioning here as you've got the hips directly over the knees. Let's move through some cat and cow. On an exhale, arch the back and tuck the chin. Inhale. Coming toward cow pose as you soften the belly, take the chin off the chest, ground the head up toward the ceiling. Exhale, coming toward cat pose here. Inhale, come toward cow. So just a few reminders here as you keep flowing through cat and cow pose. Spread the fingers wide, pressing through all 5 fingertips. And predominantly putting the weight on the thumb mound and forefinger mound, and a partial amount on the pinky mound. Really preventing any weight bearing in the center of the wrist crease. Straightening the arms, external rotation of the humerus. You want the upper arm bone to rotate outward here. Really important to establish that in this foundational pose so that when we're in any sort of arm balance, we're protecting our shoulder girdle. 2 more times, cat and cow with the breath. Beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and come down toward child's pose. Sink the buttocks back toward the heels as you lower the forehead down to the mat. If you have constriction in the knees and not able to do child's pose, come to alternate resting pose, keeping the hip directly above the knee, coming down onto the forearms, resting the forehead. If your forehead in either of these poses doesn't quite reach the ground, rest it on either stacked palms or a stacked fist, or perhaps a block if you have one handy. We're looking for that opportunity of having complete relaxation in the back of the neck. So rather than holding the head up in the air, let it rest on something. So we're going to go ahead and come back up through tabletop, and now we're going to come down onto our abdomen. So taking the legs out behind us, the big toes are coming to touch and the feet splaying outward, pressing the pelvis down to the ground. We're going to take the arms alongside the body. You can rest the forehead on the mat to begin. And then take the hands behind the back and interlace them into Yoga Mudra. Now lift the arms slightly, and option here now, as you press the pelvis down firmly, you can lift the chest off the mat. Keep pressing the pelvis down. Press the shoelaces of the feet down. Really important here, elongate the spinal column forward. The pressing of the pelvis and the shoelace of the feet protects the back, the low back. As you lower the forehead to the mat and the hands back down to the low back. Pause in here. We will come into this a second time momentarily. Really observe that opening in the front of the throat when you do. Again, press through the pelvis and the shoelaces of the feet. Lift the hands and then lift the chest off the mat. The gaze looking slightly up. Opening the front of the throat. And as you lower the forehead to the mat and the arms, bring the arms down alongside the body and then bring them forward, resting the forearm on the ground. Keep the elbow directly underneath the shoulder here. And we'll come up to Sphinx pose here. So lift the chest off the mat and gazing directly forward. So in Sphinx, our shoulder directly over our elbow, forearm flat on the ground, fingertips facing forward. We're again pressing down through the pelvis, pressing down through the shoelaces of the feet. And then begin to lower the forehead down to the mat. And we'll begin to press ourselves back up toward tabletop. Now tuck the toes as we prepare for down dog here. Keeping the knees bent, press through the palms. Remember that external rotation of the humerus. And lift the hips up and back. The knees are bent to begin with, and we'll start to warm up our dog by pedaling it out. You can drop one heel as you bend the opposite knee. And shifting to the other side, moving slowly, maybe half the speed. Notice as you drop one heel, you're pressing through the opposing palm. And we're going to come forward to a plank pose as you bring the shoulders to be directly over the wrists. And you want the hips in a straight line running from the back of the head down to the heels. External rotation of the humerus, lifting out of the palms. The modification for plank is to drop the knees and keep the activation in the arms. Rather than, if you get tired, rather than allowing the hips to lift, keeping them level, drop the knees. 2 more breaths. Squeeze the adductor muscles inward. Imagine it a block between your legs that you are squeezing inward. And let's go ahead and drop the knees, and we'll come to child's pose. Sink the buttocks back to the heels, forehead to the mat, or alternate rounds. And coming out of child's pose, we'll move back toward tabletop. Once again, tuck the toes, lifting up to down dog. We're going to take the right leg up behind us, stretch it up toward the ceiling, lift the heel higher, keep the hips parallel, press evenly through the palms, bend the right knee, and bring it forward, plant the right sole of the foot near the right thumb mound. Coming into a high lunge here. Long line through the body, crown of the head reaching forward. Lifting this back shin high off the mat, pressing down through the toes. And then we'll go ahead and drop the left knee. Equestrian pose. And inhale ourselves up, bringing the palms onto the thigh. And we'll take the arms out to the side. Now rotate at the shoulders so the palms face up, and inhale the arms up alongside. Holding here. Feel the shoulder blades coming together in the back body. And we'll prepare for a twist. There's an option to come to a revolved prayer twist, or just lower the hands down. Left palm to the right thigh, right palm to the small of the back. That right shoulder to the wall behind your back. And if you chose to come to reverse revolved prayer, left elbow outside of the right thigh, palms pressing together, right elbow up toward the ceiling. So we still feel a long line through the body, elongation of the spine, crown of the head, extending forward. Whichever position you're in, bringing the hands back to heart center. Let's go ahead and drop the palms. Tuck the left toes, take the right leg back to meet it. High plank position, 2 breaths. Remember, the modification, if needed, is to drop the knees. And press back to down dog. Let's go ahead and raise the left leg out behind you. Bend the knee, bring the sole of the left foot toward the left thumb mound. Long line in the body, high runner's lunge, crown of the head is reaching forward, lifting the right shin high off the ground. You come toward horse rider, equestrian pose, drop that back knee, and you can inhale yourself up, palms on the left thigh. Really feeling an activation and openness in the front quadricep on the right hand side. Ensure that the left knee does not come ahead of the left ankle. So holding here, I'm just going to change my positioning. So the left knee directly over the left ankle, your shin bone perpendicular to the floor. Now take the elbows out at shoulder height toward the wall. Rotate the palms to face up and inhale the arms up and over. Straighten the arms, either spread shoulder, or you can always interlace into temple. Notice if you take temple that you maintain a straight arm. If the elbows bend, you can bring the arms slightly forward here, particularly if you have a wide shoulder girdle. And release the hands if they're interlaced. We're coming down to a revolved twist. Either the palm to the thigh and small of the back, or revolved prayer. Breathing here. And we'll bring the hands back to heart center. Drop the palms. And tuck the right toes. We're going to spring off that foot, coming into a hanging forward fold near the front of your mat. Root down through the four corners of your feet. Let the spinal column spill forward. Bend the knees to feel the belly resting against the thighs. The back of the neck is relaxed with the head just hanging, draping forward. Arms are hanging like empty coat sleeves. And now we're going to ragdoll the spine upward. So as you root through the feet, pressing yourself as you start to unfurl the vertebra, rising up towards standing. Let the arms remain very heavy. Keep the chin tucked to the chest. Will be the last part to come up. Eventually, as you rise up, fully coming toward Tadasana, mountain pose, rooting through the four corners of your feet. Feel an engagement of the muscles hugging the bones. A lift through the entire spinal column, out through the crown of the head still. Notice the scapula coming together in the back body. You can actually accentuate this by, again, rotating at the humerus so that the palms face forward and you feel a broadness opening through the collarbones of the upper chest. Let's go ahead and inhale the arms up overhead, and then we'll bring the hands back down to heart center. Taking the arms out to the side again, inhale them up overhead, back down to heart center. 2 more times, a little bit of pranayama breath work here. Arms overhead, bringing them back down to heart center. Once more, raising the arms up overhead and bringing them back down to heart center. This is preparing us for Sun Salutation, Series A, Surya Namaskar A, standing at the front of your mat, standing firmly. This time as we take the arms up and overhead, we'll come toward a swan dive. You can bend the knees if you have tight hamstring or low back. Coming, hanging forward fold, fingertips toward the toes. Inhale for halfway lift or diver's pose. Elongate the back, a straight spine here. Exhale, hanging forward fold. We're going to take the right leg back behind us. Long line in the runner's lunge here. Now, option here, like we did previously, either to come to equestrian by dropping the back knee, or a warrior one lunge, keeping the knee raised. Inhale the arms up alongside the ears. Either knee down, or toes tucked and the shin raised. And we'll come toward a twist. Again, either lowering the palms to the thigh and low back, or revolved prayer. Bringing the hands back to heart center. Let's go ahead and drop the palms. Take the left leg back to meet the right. High plank position, 2 breaths, or modify by dropping the knees. Squeeze the adductor muscles inward here. Imagine a block between the legs. And press back to down dog. Raise the right leg up behind you. Bend the knee, planted by the right thumb mount. Once again, option to drop the knee. Otherwise, inhale the arms alongside the ears with the shin raised. And coming to a revolved twist.
back to heart center. We're going to go ahead and drop the fingertips and palms, right leg back to meet the left, high plank position. 2 breaths. And press back to down dog. So you can either walk the feet forward, hanging forward fold, or hop forward, hanging forward fold. Reverse swan dive, root through the feet, bend the knees, circle the arms around, raise them up overhead and down to heart center. Pause here. Second half of the pose, turn the attention inward, closing the eyes. Feel sensation in the body. Reconnecting with the breath, checking on the state of the mind. Observe if your mind is being pulled away from the present moment. And if it is, bring it back, focusing on the breath, a very useful tool. Particularly if you're utilizing an Ujjayi breath today. Observe how it warms the back of the throat. So we'll repeat this process on the opposite side. Go ahead and open the eyes. So we'll circle the arms around, sun salutation, Surya Namaskar, swan dive through midline. Fingertips toward the toes. Inhale, diver's pose or halfway lift. Keep a straight spine here, elongate the spine. Exhale as you come to a hanging forward fold. Pressing the fingertips down. This time we'll take the left leg back behind us, reversing the flow. Either keep the shin raised or drop the knee as you inhale the arms alongside the ear. Coming to a revolved twist of your choice. Palm on thigh and low back, or revolved prayer. Hands back to heart center. Drop the palms. Right leg back to meet the left. High plank position. Follow that second exhale, pressing back to down dog. Raise the left leg up behind you. Bend the knee, planted by the left thumb mount. Once more, option to drop that knee or just inhale the arms alongside the ears. You feel like opening the front of the chest here and the throat, the shoulders coming together in the back body, external rotation of the humerus. And now bringing the hands down to heart center. If you're going to revolve prayer twist, otherwise lowering the palm to the thigh and small of the back. Bringing the hands back to heart center. Go ahead and drop the palms, left leg back to meet your right, high plank position, 2 breaths. Remember, the modification is to drop the knees. And press back to down dog. And either walk or hop to the front of the mat. Hanging forward fold. For a reverse swan dive, root through the feet, bend the knees, circle the arms around, up overhead, and bringing the hands down. Anjali Mudra at Samastitihi. Second half of the pose, closing the eyes, bringing awareness inward, chin parallel to the floor, crown of the head is still reaching up. And then we'll go ahead and open the eyes. Beautiful. So we're going to come to a standing balance pose here. So Vrikshasana today, tree pose. So two elements I really want us to focus on are the activation in the standing leg, that it remains firm, steady, and upright. You observe in any position you're going in, if it starts to sort of fall out to the side, bring it back in upright, strong and steady like the foundational pillar of a building. The other aspect is the opening of the hips. So keeping the hips open toward a 90-degree angle. We're going to start with rooting down through the four corners of the right foot and lifting onto the tip toes of the left foot. And then open that hip out to the side toward 90 degrees. Rest the left heel just above the right ankle. And again, you're feeling adduction here. If this is where you're going to keep your foot today, pressing the heel into the leg and the leg back into the heel. If you prefer a different variation, you can bring the foot up to rest the sole of the foot on the calf or above the knee onto the thigh, always avoiding the knee. And for those who practice half lotus in a seated position, option to come to half lotus. If you take the half lotus option, the knee has to be below the hip, the foot external rotation resting in the inner groin. So whichever variation you come to, again, focus on the openness of the hips and the engagement of the standing leg. If you notice any of these two foundational aspects starting to slip a bit, for example, if my knee comes forward, I'm going to lower the foot to the ground and work on opening that hip. Feeling the lift up through the spinal column, crown of the head flush, lifting toward the ceiling, chin parallel to the floor. Perhaps utilizing a drishti gaze. If you'd like to focus on a non-moving focal point, to put your attention and let the hands land where they are called. That might be at Anjali Mudra, might be alongside the ears like branches of a tree or interlaced for temple. Perhaps even behind the back, grabbing opposite elbow and opposite palm, or maybe a reverse prayer. As you release the hands, go ahead and release the leg, and then any complementary movement that just brings some sense of ease or comfort or equilibrium. Maybe shaking out the leg. Beautiful, moving to the opposite side, rooting down through the four corners of the left foot, tiptoes of the right foot, and open the hip out to the side, 90 degrees. We're moving toward, heel above the ankle. Feel the engagement in the left leg, hugging the muscles, really hug the muscles to the bone. Feel the activation all the way down, firm. Bring the sole of the left foot, if you're called to, up onto the calf, or the inner thigh, or once again, half lotus. Openness in the hips, engagement of the standing leg, and then hands coming wherever feels appropriate for you today. Even if you're utilizing an external, non-moving point to focus the drishti, recognize that it is not the external that is giving that sense of internal balance. The drishti is within. And why I mention internal balance is it's not uncommon to feel a bit of wavering here. Don't worry about the physical aspect. We want the balance of the mind, the focus of the mind, the presence of the mind, irrespective of what is happening with the physical. Go ahead and release the hands, release the leg, and again, moving in any complementary manner that brings a sense of ease and comfort. Beautiful. We're going to come to Utkatasana, chair pose here. Now there's different variations, of course, of every pose. For today, we want to keep a neutrality in the spinal column. So we naturally have two lordotic and two kyphotic curves in the spinal column, but we're going to keep the general neutrality of it. So in our chair pose, we want to prevent either arching the back or sending the booty backwards and curving the back here. That neutrality in the spine. You can keep the feet hip width apart unless it's customary in your practice to keep them in a single podium here, as some traditions prefer. It's really about what feels right for your body. As you begin to sit into your imaginary chair, keeping that neutrality in the spine, take the sits bones back behind you, and then inhale the arms out in front of you at shoulder height. Palms can be facing down to begin with. Have a quick glance down at the feet. You need to be able to see your toes. If your knees have come forward to the point that it's occluding you seeing your toes, take the hips further back. If doing that is too excessive for you, you can rise up here. It's really crucial you see your toes. You can bring the gaze back forward here. Option to turn the palms to face inward here and raise the arms up alongside the ear. Just creates a little additional heat here, keeping that activation neutrality in the spine. Crown of the head is reaching up, sits bones are reaching back. Breathe here, keep breathing. Remember, if you ever get into a pose and you notice the breath becomes labored, this is an indication of going beyond a physical edge. An invitation to back out a bit when that happens. Holding here. Got about another 25 minutes in the class. We could just hold chair for the remainder. But let's move on to other things. Press the palms together, Anjali Mudra, lifting out of the legs. And breathe. Excellent. So we're going to come down to a wide-legged squat. I'd recommend taking the feet to the outside edges of the mat and turning them out, the feet out partly here. Now, much like we did in our chair pose here, we want to keep that neutrality in the spine. So as we start to sink the sits bones back, crown of the head reaching up. If it's available to you, keep coming all the way down through, bringing the palms together in Anjali Mudra, hands at heart center, a gentle opening on the inner leg. If you're not able to come all the way down, feel free to rest the palm on the thighs, keeping activation in the legs, elongation of the spine. Really feeling the crown of the head reaching up. Elongate that spine. We'll go ahead and bring the palms down behind us as we lower ourselves down to a seated position. So we're going to walk the flesh off the sits bones here. We really want to feel the ischial tuberosities is the anatomical term, those little bony nubs at the bottom of the pelvis. Really root them down into the ground. Legs are straight out in front of you. Dorsiflexion in the feet. Engage the muscles, hugging them to the bone. Activate. We're coming in toward Dandasana, staff pose. Bring the palms down onto the ground, fingertips facing forward. Notice as you press the palms down, you root down through them and lift to give additional height through the spinal column. Shine the sternum forward, shine the heart forward. Activate here. Ideally, for enough activation that if you held this for 3 minutes, you would be exhausted. Well, we're looking for engagement here, staff pose. Beautiful. Let's inhale the arms out to the side. Rotate the palms to face up and inhale them up alongside the ears. Preparing for Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold here. Remembering there's always an option that you can bend the knees if you have tightness in the low back or hamstrings. We're going to start to come forward 90 degrees as you hinge at the hips, closing the 90-degree angle. But extend the torso out of the pelvis, coming to the point of first resistance. Keep extending the torso. And then let the arms fall down toward the mat or the legs. Extend the torso out of the pelvis. We're not looking to relax the upper shoulders and slouch here. We want an activation. Press down through the sits bones. Press down through the heels. Lift the crown of the head up. You might notice some additional activation in the hamstrings here. Remember, option to bend the knees. Either walking on spider tip fingers to come back upright, or raise the arms up alongside the ears and very slowly inhale yourselves back up and letting the hands come down to the side. Now pressing through the hands, scooch our buttocks forward as we come down onto our backs. Knees are bent, soles of the feet flat on the ground, arms alongside the body, palms facing down, the fingertips are coming toward the heels. Move the pelvis back and forward a couple of times as you take it toward the wall in front of you, rocking forward. Notice there's a big curve in the low back. You could slide a hand under there. We want to take the pelvis in the direction of the wall behind the head. Spread the low back, pressing. Feel the entire spinal column flush with the mat. Once more, just for that sense of awareness of the position of the pelvis before we move to bridge, as you rock it forward and notice that curvature. Now rock the pelvis again back to the wall behind you. Spread the low back. Now as you keep pressing through the whole back, we'll prepare to rise up toward a bridge pose. You can press down through the palms. The bulk of the pressing and weight is through the feet and the upper shoulders and back here. Don't put any undue pressure on the back of the head here. And as you root down, begin to lift the hips and buttocks up toward the ceiling. In addition to lifting them toward the ceiling, feel that they're coming forward toward the wall in front of the legs. If you're accustomed to bridge and want to come to Yoga Mudra, you can roll onto the shoulder heads and interlace the fingers underneath the back. Keep lifting the hips higher. Remember, no pressure on the back of the head. If you must look to the side, come out of the pose before turning the neck. You don't want to ever move the head if there is even an ounce of pressure on it. You can hold here for a few minutes, a few breaths, or come out when you're ready. And other options, you could take three-legged bridge if you want, and straighten one leg up toward the ceiling. Keep the hips squared off and parallel. And if you do take that option, make sure you take both sides to even things out. If the hands are interlaced in Yoga Mudra, go ahead and release that, roll off the shoulder head, lowering the vertebra slowly, one vertebra at a time. Eventually the pelvis reaches back down to the mat. And now let's take the soles of the feet off the mat, hugging the knees in toward the chest. Maybe a gentle rocking side to side, or holding steady here in supine child's pose. Supta Balasana. As you release the shins, let the soles of the feet come back down to the mat. Take the soles of the feet to the outside edges of the mat. You're going to take the arms out away from the body in a T formation, and gently windshield wiper the legs side to side. They may only come over a few inches, or perhaps they're coming almost close down to the mat, one knee toward the instep of the opposite foot. If you're coming down that far, you might like to turn the gaze over the opposite shoulder. Oh, feels good, breathing into that sensation. As you come back to center, let's go ahead and walk the knees in toward one another. Soles of the feet are still flat on the ground. Arms are out in a T formation. We're going to drop the legs over toward the left-hand side and gaze over the right shoulder. So the knees might reach the ground, and they might not. If they reach the ground, you can take the legs in the direction toward the wall behind you. But only if they reach the ground here, otherwise it can put undue strain in the low back. So if your knees are floating in the air, that's fine, just holding them here as you gaze over the opposite shoulder. So we always want to bring the head back to midline first and then raise the legs up. We're going to move to the opposite side as you lower the legs over toward the right hand side and gazing over that left shoulder. Head back to center, raise the legs up, coming toward butterfly or goddess pose. Bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees splay outward here. If it's too much sensation on the inner groin or hips, you can take the heels further away from the perineum, or feel free to bring them closer in as that feels for you. You can either keep the arms alongside the body again, or bending at the elbows and rest the palms on the belly. Fingertips coming to touch one another across the belly. On an inhale, as you expand the belly outward, maybe the fingertips come apart slightly. And on the exhale, they come back together as the belly button comes toward the back side of the spine. Front of the back body. We'll stay here for another 25 or 30 seconds. However, if this is really excessive sensation on the hips, taking a counter movement here, bringing the knees up together, and take the soles of the feet to the outside edges of the mat, and letting the knees fall in toward one another. That's a little bit of a counter position for the hips. So wherever the legs are at, bring the feet and knees together, soles of the feet flat on the ground once more. And we're going to prepare for Shavasana. So go ahead and grab an article of clothing or blanket if you need something to keep warm. And we'll go ahead and stretch the legs out in front of us. Let the feet splay apart slightly. The arms coming alongside the body, about 15 degrees off of midline. Allow the backs of the hands to come onto the mat so the palms face upward, just to minimize the extrasensory perceptors of the finger pads. If you notice your head has a tendency to fall backwards here, you might like to elongate the back of the neck, and rather than resting on the back of the skull, coming onto the occipital ridge. So as you gently lift the head about an inch off the mat, elongate the back of the neck and lower the head back down, resting on the occipital ridge. Noticing not only a greater sense of ease through the trachea here, but also an opening of the Sushumna channel. So as we spend several minutes here in Shavasana to integrate what has transpired so far in our practice, and importantly to allow the parasympathetic nervous system to come to the fore. So vital and crucial to our well-being,
So take this opportunity now to scan your awareness through the body. We're going to start at the heels, the bottom of the body here, where the heels are pressing into the mat. As you allow that awareness to rise up the legs, notice where the calves are heavy and sinking down, weighted down into the mat. Up the back of the legs, into the buttocks, really a sense of gravitational pull weighing you down. Continuing up the back line of the body, up toward the shoulders, which just feel heavy. Bringing the awareness down the arms, back of the upper arm resting on the mat, all the way down to the back of the hands. Hands feel very weighted down. So bring the awareness back up the arms and toward the back of the head. And just feel it sinking into the ground. Now, if you noticed anywhere along the way any area of tension or tightness or holding, gripping, clenching, invite some additional space and ease and rest and relaxation. Even scanning through all the micromuscles on the face and in the skull. Notice if you're clenching the sides of the mouth and let that rest. Be aware if you're activating your tongue by pressing it against the teeth or the roof of the mouth, and let the tongue rest. Notice that there's a tendency to squint the eyes closed, clench them. Can you allow that sense of ease and relaxation? Even in those micromuscles that control the movement of our eyeballs, or if those are activated and clenched in any way, just let them relax. And now bring the awareness to the third eye, just between the eyebrows a few inches into the skull, and that's near the seat of the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the hippocampus, and all of these areas responsible for our parasympathetic nervous system. Focusing our concentration here and feeling a sense of ease and lightness. reality back to the body, starting with some slow, subtle movements. Maybe you begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, or even rotating the wrists and ankles. Taking the opportunity to reactivate the physical form. Maybe bring the arms overhead along the ground and have a big stretch like you're awakening from a sleep. And then once more, hug the knees into the chest. Slowly rocking side to side before coming over to the right hand side in a fetal position. And pausing here in the womb of existence. As I'm sure we know, Shavasana is the Sanskrit word for corpse pose. Fitting that we transition from this to the fetal position as a reminder that every moment is a new beginning. Every instant affords us the opportunity to start anew, a rebirth, a renaissance. As you stretch out the upper leg, pressing into the upper arm and bringing yourselves up to a seated position, take a moment here to find a comfortable seat, and I just wanted to share a brief reading with you from Courtney Walsh. Dear human, we've got it all wrong. You didn't come here to master unconditional love. That is where you came from and where you will return. You came here to learn personal love. Universal love, messy love, sweaty love, crazy love, broken love, whole love, infused with divinity, lived through the grace of stumbling, demonstrated through the beauty of messing up, often. You didn't come here to be perfect. You already are. You came here to be gorgeously human, flawed and fabulous, and then to rise into remembering. But unconditional love? Stop telling that story. Love and truth doesn't need any other adjective. It doesn't require modifiers. It doesn't require the condition of perfection. It only asks that you show up and do your best. That you stay present and feel fully. That you shine and fly and laugh and cry and hurt and heal and fall and get back up and play and work and live and die as you. It's enough. It's plenty. Let's bring the palms pressing together at Anjali Mudra. And if it feels appropriate for you, a gentle bowing of the chin to the chest. The light and the love in me acknowledges and bows to the light and love in you. Jai Bhagwan. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Look forward to us connecting again this way each Monday at 9:30 and for a gentle flow, and each Friday at 9:30. So stay safe, keep well, and be safe.